But hey, if you haven't yet managed to crawl out from under the covers, like we told you yesterday morning, don't bother. It's another cold, rainy day in Johannesburg.
Absolutely. There was persistent rain overnight, I tell you. Of course, we know that with this kind of rain comes flooding, right? So Johannesburg Emergency Services Robert Mulaudzi joins us now for this conversation. Robert, always a pleasure speaking to you. A very good morning to you. Let's talk a little bit about just the impact that we've seen the recent rainfall having on certain communities, particularly, especially in the townships.
Good morning, Maureen and Ausfaith. It's, yes, overnight we were on high alert, monitoring most of our vulnerable communities, since you will know that when we have, severe thunderstorms like the ones we're having now, we will normally have flooding in our low-lying areas, which is mostly our informal settlements. So overnight, we have not yet received any incidents which occurred in those areas. We continuing to conduct some assessments in those areas whether we might still have some residents who might have been affected overnight. And we didn't have so many motor vehicle accidents overnight, so we just want to encourage all our motorists out there to continue to be cautious on the road, extend the safe following distance, and also try and avoid crossing roads which might be flooded.
Robert, we had one of our reporters, Mangoba Mkhunu, out at Alex yesterday. He was actually standing on the embankment of the eNCA River. It's obviously been identified as one of the hot spots. If you could just maybe tell Gauteng people, and I suppose people or rather Johannesburg and Gauteng people, what some of the other hot spots that have been identified by the emergency services are.
Yes, the areas which are mostly vulnerable are areas like Ivory Park. There's an area called Riverside there where a few weeks ago we had an incident where a number of shacks were swept away by floods. We've got areas like Kliptown in Soweto, which is, we've got residents who are staying along a river stream and along Klip Valley river stream. And also, of course, the area which you said now, Setla, in Alexander. So far, the water level is okay, but the only challenge is that our residents use most of these river streams to cross to the other side as and when they conduct their daily business. So our message is that we urging them to try and use designated pedestrian crossing instead of using, shortcuts, as they call them in our townships, to get to do their businesses, because we now and then received a number of incidents where residents are trapped while they're trying to cross these river streams. And of course now, young kids might be tempted to go and play next to these areas, which might also pose a danger. We might also come across some flooding incidents. So we also activated our Swift Water Rescue Unit, which is a specialized unit which responds to water-related emergencies. And of course, all our 30 fire stations throughout the city of Johannesburg are fully operational. So we are ready to attend to any emergencies. And Morena, our last concern also is about the heating devices, because now that it's extremely cold, our residents will also be tempted to use, heating devices like heaters, candles. We might have an increase in terms of the number of fire incidents. So we're urging our residents out there to look after their heating devices, not to leave them unattended, so that we can be able to prevent fire incidents which might occur over this weekend.
Sure.
Of course. Robert, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for all of those alerts and all of those warnings. That is Robert Mulaudzi, who's coming to us from Johannesburg Emergency Services.